Hello everyone. This tutorial is going to be about combining assessment components so that they are calculated in the grade center. So we have um, we have here the assessment policy of the school, and generally we have for attendance we have 5%. Homework and assignments generally gives 20%, but the question can be there are many little pieces inside this. There's a little piece that needs to be graded. Maybe there's one for each week or every 2 weeks and so on. And also this thematic assessment and midterm examinations, it also has got smaller bits inside. And how do we bring it up to 35%? So another question. And the final grade, obviously it's a final final examination, but there might be teachers who do a smaller bit before the examination and want to combine this two. It can be like the students need to uh, prepare a product for computer science, let's say, a program, and then they need to come into the class and answer some questions based on that. This exam is in the class, but before that they need to provide a product, and the teacher divides it into two bits. So basically this is the school's approach. Attendance gets 5%, and then homework gets 20%, and then you need to do systematic summative assessment that gets 35% in the final exam. But inside this there can be smaller bits, and the question now is how do we combine this on Blackboard so that the students are informed about each individual piece, plus it's all calculated in weighted total. In the previous tutorials I explained the weighted total, which I changed the name to my final grade, and the idea is the more columns we create, it should be calculated and added to the weighted total. So if you go to weighted total, edit column information, what I have done here, right now it's not calculating correctly. It needs to be 100, by the way. It is 100. Last time I think we did it just for the sake of this tutorial. So here we have individual assignments pieces that we moved here. But the thing is that below that, these are individual. Below that, there are categories. So basically, categories are there to add more assignments. For example, I can add this 2 into one category, and I will add the categories here. And so the idea is, if you go back to this, so we will create a category called homework and assignments, or homework and weekly assignments, and inside this we'll add more little pieces. And also that can be true for thematic assessments and midterm. That can be true for final examination. So let's try to do that. So back to the grade center again, and here we go grade center and manage, and here we have categories. So a good idea would be to add categories here according to our grading policy. So add categories. Attendance will be one single item, so I will ignore attendance, and I will put here homework and weekly assignments. And you can put a description of it, but it's not really that necessary. And I submit this category, so it is here. And I will add one more category that is on our list, unit tests and midterm exam. Right, so let's put it here as well. So it is 2 now, and let's add one more. That will be final exam. If your final exam is just one final exam, then you probably don't need to create a category for that, because it will be just one item. But if you think that your final exam will consist of 2 parts and you will grade it individually, then it's a good idea to create a category so that you can add it into the category. So final exam, homework, and then final exam, homework, and the unit tests, and also we will have attendance. And I will try to add this now to our grade center. So after creating this, let's go back, and here we need it to be reflected in my final grade. But before that, let me also create a column for attendance. So I will create a column for attendance so that I can give students the grades. By the way, once you create a column, you can decide which category it goes into. So it goes into homework and so on, but I will choose no category because this is just one single item. And possible point will be 100, and I create this attendance category here. Alright, so I have my attendance category, attendance column, and I've got some categories into which I need to add these items. So I will do that a bit later. So the idea is the students will see this final and also the details. So to do that, we need to edit this column information. And sorry, this was not the right one. Final. So this is weighted total column. Basically, it calculates based on the other columns. So I will delete this because this is not true anymore. So what we need is we need to give 5% for the attendance, and we want to give some for the weekly alright, this is ampersand is not correctly reflected, and then final exam. So we've got attendance 5%, and then for the unit and midterm exams we have 35, and here we have 40, and homework and weekly assignments 20. Okay, and inside this there will be assignments. Do you want them to be equally distributed? If it is yes, then put it equally. I think equally would be the best option because each assignment gives equal amount, so it will calculate the average for that. So it's 100%. Now our grade center is set, and so the idea is that all these columns are should be inside one of the categories, and then the categories calculate and contribute to this final grade. For example, last time I created this column, let me edit that column, and I will add this into the category of homework and weekly assignments because it was, it's end of the unit test, and I will add this here. So I will call this end of unit test 1, let's say, and this thematic assessment 1, and I added it into the unit tests and midterm exams section, and I add this. You can see that it's still there, the details there, but it calculates towards this. And if you go to homework 1, for example, and edit that column information as well. So I want to put this into the homework and weekly assignments, and here we go. So you'll have homework 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but if you put it into one group, that's the category, it will calculate it into, let me go to this final grade again, it will calculate it into homework and weekly assignments, and it will give, for example, 100%, and then it will weight it down to 20, and we'll add it to the what we have created, my final grade. So that's the idea, and you can have as many assignments as you like, and if you just create 3 categories and add everything into those categories and attach those categories to this final grade, there you will need to choose equally distributed or proportionally, because some assignments might not be equally distributed. Just choose one of those, and then it will create this final grade for us. And this is what is seen by the students. We need to be able to communicate to the students their final grade, which is this final grade C, but also for different assignments. Homework 1, homework 2, 3, 4, together with the feedback and the grade, obviously. So this is the tutorial how to combine different assignments and make sure that they are calculated in the weighted total or in the final grades. Thanks very much for your attention.